Hey everyone, it's Jason Pannone, Head of Reference and Cultural Assets Manager here at the East Hartford Public Library. For this installment of Raiders of the Lost Archive, I'm going to show you a neat little thing that I found while doing some research recently. It's the annual report for the town of East Hartford for the year 1881, so 1880 into 1881. This is super cool because there is a lot of stuff in here that really is a fascinating snapshot of East Hartford in the latter part of the 19th century when it was still very much an agricultural community. East Hartford really wouldn't start to urbanize and change really until the 1920s. Even though there was lots of light industry in town pretty much since its founding, there have been wool mills, grist mills, gunpowder mills, glass works, paper mills, silversmiths, all sorts of industry did exist in town, even shipping to an extent. Ozias Roberts, who was the father-in-law of Albert Raymond, who gave the money to found the library, made his fortune in shipping, obviously because of the river. But for the most part, East Hartford was a farming town. Not thickly settled. Most of the settlement would have been along the river, and the rest of the town would have been given over to farmland. So this is really neat. I'll have some other pictures up, but I'm just going to kind of go through it right here to show you. So if you look at the officers of the town, and I'll put a picture of this up, but you see some very familiar last names. There's Risley, there's Burnham, there's Bidwell, there's Brewer, Darlin, Olmsted, Roberts. Some really interesting things, and I'll show this too. The revenues of the town, that they got tax rolls. Interestingly, that they received $146 from the towns of South Windsor and Manchester. I wonder what for. It's not explained. Money for the support of paupers. That's kind of interesting. And from the Hartford County Jail. Then they list some sort of expenses for the outdoor poor, the sort of homeless is what we would probably call them today, for the almshouse, paying out salaries and things like that. It's kind of neat. You'll see some of that too. When you look at the inventory of property belonging to the town, here's a quick look at it right here, and there'll be a picture of it too at the end. But you can see, today we'd be looking at computers and printers and all sorts of groundskeeping equipment and things like that. But in 1881, the property of the town included an almshouse, a woodlot, bridge planks, road scrapers, the safe at the town clerk's office, something due from the town of Lyon, Connecticut. I'm very curious about that what a town at the very bottom of the Connecticut River paid $27 to the town of East Hartford. That's kind of interesting. I would love to know more about that. But at the almshouse, there were 2 hogs. There were 10 bushels of rye and 70 bushels of corn. So lots of neat stuff in here. And then salaries for all the townspeople. The $350 were paid to Seth Risley for his term as town selectman. Joseph Goodwin, who was the town clerk for many years and wrote the history of East Hartford called East Hartford, Its History and Traditions, in 1870, was paid $51 for his services. And then it ends with orders drawn on the treasurer by the selectmen. So this basically right here is several pages of all the expenses and all the outlays of money that were paid to the town. So you can see that to Jerome Gillette, 4 days work on the highway, he was paid $10.50. To S. Marston and Company, $24 were paid for lumber. For, Olds and Whipple, fertilizer for the town farm, paid $46.53. And you might say, well, who cares? But this is the sort of thing that really tells the story about East Hartford and how it's changed over time. And this is the sort of thing that, and I know that there are more of these reports kicking around, that you could mine this data and do some really interesting analyses of the history of the town and kind of what it was like and how much expenses changed over time. And you can see the gradual shift away from farming towards a more suburban, urban environment, much more on manufacturing with Pratt & Whitney as we move into the 20th century and into the 21st. So super cool. I think it's super cool. So there you go. So that's this episode of Raiders of the Lost Archive. Right now, you'll see some pictures that will close out and you'll hear me stop yammering. So we'll see you later. And then until next time, as always, wash your hands, wear your masks, practice safe social distancing, and be well. And we'll see you soon. Bye.